We're going to shift gears here, and we're going to have Nathan Chandra, founder and CSO of Butterfly, take the stage. So if you could come up here and get prepared. We have a presentation we're setting up in the back. Let me just read you a little bit about Nathan's bio here. So Nathan is the CSO for Butterfly and the founder. Butterfly optimizes and transacts with tens of millions of influencers to allow brands and content companies to reach unprecedented scale. Prior to Butterfly, Nathan built WeLink, which is a Silicon Valley-based social data company that processes billions of social posts. So this is pretty exciting. We're really happy to have you here. And do you want to use the roaming microphone, or do you want to stand there and... Okay, let's give him a big round of applause. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I'm assuming you're doing well. We're in Malta. Big thanks to Michael Turpin. He always puts on great events at great locations. So what I usually talk about during this presentation is influencers and the blockchain. Now, I'm going to assume that most of you here don't need me to go through a history of blockchain because this is an elite group. But if you do need me to send out these slides, I can. Usually what I do is talk about the blockchain. But again, before I do that, about myself. So I grew up doing music, and it was really early when I got involved in that. I was about 16, 17 years old. And so I started understanding how influential musicians were. And so I was able to work with people like Tupac and John B. and Babyface and Boyz II Men. And that was prior to social media. So it was really interesting to understand how to manage those influencers and understand the impact they had on the world and their audience. And then after I stopped doing music, I founded a company called WeLink, which was a social data company. So we processed billions of posts, and we used it by location, and we did it for public safety. So some of our clients were Cisco and AT&T and Schneider International. After that, I went and did a company called Rise. It was back in the music space. It was a public-facing or consumer-facing mobile app. We got a lot of love from musicians and also from Apple. They would feature us a lot of downloads. And then from there, I learned about Bitcoin and blockchain back in 2012. It was actually Michael Turpin who introduced me to that. I was fortunate to have him do that. And then now I'm working on Butterfly. So quickly, like I said, I'm not going to go too much of the history, but the things that I usually talk about that are important about blockchain is Bitcoin, obviously, the underlying technology. This is the history of Bitcoin, but the underlying technology being blockchain. The third is the smart contracts, and the fourth being that we're at a place where we're going to try to start scaling the blockchain. Next big innovation I think that's going to come from this is the decentralized apps. And here's some information about the market stats. One thing I find that's interesting, it says that 1/3 of millennials will buy crypto in 2018. So we're going to see a lot more adoption of crypto. But I really think for it to be adopted, it's going to have to be something that's easy for consumers to do. And this is what we'll start discussing when I'm talking about influencers. So I'll take a little bit more time with influencers here. So the way I look at influence and it starting, it was many years ago, and it started with these type of seals of approval. So like a queen seal of approval that would go out in letters. It was a very influential letter that you would receive. Now for influencer marketing, there were some pioneers, and it started way back in 1760s. So like Josiah Wedgwood, so he would do royal endorsements for his pottery. Or Fatty Arbuckle, he actually had a contract to help sell cigarettes. So that was back in the early 1900s. So there were some pioneers in influencer marketing. Then it started turning into characters. So Santa Claus was something that was very popular. It was popularized by Coca-Cola. I don't know if people know this or not. Also Tony the Tiger. And so these are characters that brands created to help consumers remember the brand, the qualities of the brands, things of that nature. We all know Flo. Do you guys know Flo out here in Malta? Okay. Then it got into celebrities. So celebrity influencers started, and the way that they got popular was by their offline accomplishments. And this was going on before social media, but now that social media is here, They have a very powerful voice, and a lot of people follow them. They're not really super connected to their audiences because they're celebrities and because they're accomplishing things that are offline that are allowing them to be popular. But what you'll find is they're going to have millions of followers. Usually they're more than 10 million. Some of them have up to 180 million. But their engagement is kind of low. It's 0.5 to 2% engagement. If you get 2% engagement from a celebrity, it's really a high engagement. It's usually that people are just passively watching these celebrities. And some of these people are Selena Gomez and soccer players and DJs and singers. And does everybody know who these influencers are? Yeah. Okay. Then what we start breaking into is the way that I outline and the industry outlines different tiers of influence on social channels. So the macro influencer, these are people that have over 1 million followers, and they usually have somewhere between 2 and 5% engagement, but they're really involved in their community, and they've built their whole audience just on social. So it's not that they've accomplished a lot of things offline. They actually became popular online, and they are macro influencers. So it's good. They get great contracts. Some of them have, like here, this Lily Singh. I don't know if you know who she is, but she really blew up on YouTube for her videos, and she has a contract with Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola pays her a lot of money for her to talk about Coca-Cola and things like that. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not. A lot of times these brands will spend a lot of money on influencers and macro influencers, but not really understand their followers or their audience. So I always stress that if you're going to be doing some type of influencer campaign, then understand who your audience is that you're trying to reach, and then find influencers that have followers that are people that you want to be marketing your product to. Michelle Pham on the side, she has a contract with Lancome. She makes a pretty penny off that. So these people have done a great job at becoming influencers. The next tier is mid-tier influencers. Smaller audience, 25K to 1 million. They'll have a greater engagement. So you have anywhere from 5 to 20% engagement. So if this tier is getting 20% engagement, that's really high, and they're doing a great job. And usually what you're finding here is it's like they have an audience that's generally grouped around a particular interest. So for example, Morgan Willett, so she won Big Brother, but what she does is she does a lot of motivational talks and motivational posts. So people that want to be motivated and understand how to accomplish more things in their life, they follow her and they engage with her. That's what she does as a living. This is how she makes her money, by being an influencer. Or this Zoe Cloper, so she's a fitness model. So I follow her and I learn how to do different workouts and things like that. So it's just a way for me to get knowledge and get a knowledge base. And now when I see somebody like Zoe talking about different products that she's endorsing, I listen to her because I see what how she's working out and things like that. The next tier is these micro influencers. Now what's really interesting about this tier for marketing is that it's somewhere between 500 followers to 25K followers, but the ones that are doing a good job get 25% plus engagement. And so these are really niched people that have expert knowledge in certain areas. And sometimes they're your friends, right? So for example, Sarah Baldoni, she's a friend of mine, but what she does is a lot of experiential activities and product focused. So she's always going to different gyms or cryotherapy, and she's always like taking time to interview the people that are at the gym on her stories and on her Instagram. And so I watch it and I kind of follow her around, and sometimes I'll go to different places that she frequents. So she has an influence on me and the decisions I make when I'm going to use my class pass and go to different gyms. Another gentleman, he's also a friend of mine. His name is Iz. He's a music producer. So he's got 4 Grammys. He's worked with Janet Jackson. He's worked with Missy Elliott, Usher, a lot of the big artists. He's been producing music for many years. And then he's always posting about different studio sessions he's in, different artists, the music that they have coming out. Now, he doesn't have a lot of followers, but he has really high engagement, and he has really specific knowledge about certain topics. Let's move to the next slide, if we can. So influencer marketing stats. So what I'm finding really interesting is how fast it's growing. So there was $2 billion spent in 2017 on influencer marketing, and by 2020 it's going to be $10 billion. So that's a 5x growth. We all know that when there's huge growth like this in the market, there's ready for disruption. Also, the influencers are going to grow. So in 2017, there was 1.2 million influencers across the 3 tiers of influence. And by 2020, it's supposed to be 12 million, so that's another big growth. I also find it interesting that 71% of consumers are more likely to make a purchase based on some type of social media reference. So basically what this is saying is that marketing, and what I believe is it's going away from traditional, or what's traditional now, which is maybe a Facebook ad, and it's moving into people talking about products and people being hired for these influencer marketing campaigns. So what we're going to talk about now is how these two are intersecting, and if we apply blockchain to the influencer marketing industry, we're going to be able to make some serious changes and do, I believe it's going to disrupt the industry, bringing blockchain to what's happening in the influencer marketing space. And there's some challenges and some basic problems that blockchain can solve. For example, with the influencer challenges, it's minimizing the payment cycle. So right now, after an influencer takes action, it'll take anywhere from 90 to 120 days for them to get paid. And the reason being is because they have to send in their invoices, the invoices need to go through the accounting system, then they have to be paid and do W-9s, and it just takes a long time. Sometimes I've talked to influencers that it'll take them up to 6 months plus from when the brand first contacts them for them to get paid. And it's just too long of a period for this ever to scale. Also, there's influencer challenges is maximizing their inventory or their future inventory. So for an influencer, they're making their whole, their livelihood is how much they post. So if they miss a day of posting and they miss a day of getting paid, well, they didn't get paid that day. And then they have this inventory that's out in the future. It's almost like network TV and selling ads on network TV. There's inventory that needs to be utilized. Influencers all have problems finding brands they like and also validating their payment rate. Now that's stuff that the blockchain can't help with, but there's other ways that we're going to solve that. The brand challenges now are about contracting, verifying engagement, and payment at scale. And so here's where the blockchain can come in and help with this. It's really a basic use case of the blockchain, but what happens is in the industry, so for example, one of my partners did a project for Coach, and Coach said, hey, I need 3,000 people to post about something all at the same time. They had to hire a whole floor of people to start reaching out to these influencers. They had to reach out to them, contract with them, build a relationship, and that all takes time. They also have a difficult time finding influencers that have engaging audiences, making sure that the audience of the influencers have the right brand affinities, so they're contracting with the right influencers to get their messaging in front of the right people. And then also it's coordinating thousands of influencers all at the same time. So these are challenges in the market. So the solution, it's using, I believe, what it's just a basic use of blockchain. Blockchain is good for contracting and transacting and settlement. And you apply that onto this influencer marketing space, and you're going to find that brands are going to be able to really easily scale their messaging, and that's going to be beneficial to them. So the influencers right now, they need a quick and easy payment, they need access to more brands, they need more deal throughput, and they need to sell their inventory. Brands, they need to scale their influencer messaging, save money and time, and they really need data. So I've built a solution with the team. It's called Butterfly, and it's a blockchain marketplace for brands to scale global influencer marketing campaigns. And the way this works, it's pretty simple. It's almost kind of like Trade Desk, if anybody's used Trade Desk before. It's also been described as kind of like Google AdWords, but for influencer marketing. So a brand will come in and they'll say, hey, I've got $500,000 spend. They'll put it into the system. Butterfly will then be able to determine who are the best influencers for them to work with. So what we've done is we've virally mapped over 300 million Instagram profiles, so we understand all of the brand affinities, and we can show a brand, hey, these are the best people that you should be working with. But beyond that, what we're doing is we're applying AI and ML. So what we've been able to do is, for example, we did a campaign for Rihanna, and she has her Fenty Beauty, which is a cosmetic line. So they put $5 million into influencer marketing campaign, and they turned that into $100 million of sales. And so we have these data sets to say, hey, this is who they hired. So it's a smaller data set from all of Instagram. And then we have ML and going out and starting to learn how are the best influencer campaigns put together, and they start watching all of Instagram and seeing, hey, there's an influencer marketing campaign, and it just gets smarter and smarter. So we're able to then start actually telling the brands who are the best influencers for them to work with. Now on the influencer side, they can log into to Butterfly, it's an app, and a post will come up, an opportunity, and the opportunity says, hey, do you want to post this information about Fenty Beauty on July 30th? You're going to make $200. Or do you want to post this about Lululemon on August 10th? You're going to make $200. And so what that does is it makes it a real simple solution and saves all the pain points that I discussed earlier by using the blockchain, the smart contracts. And one of the important things here is how simple to use this. You know, we've been talking about how do we get consumers and actually spread cryptocurrency across a larger group of people. Well, it has to be done really easy for these people that are on Instagram and something that they're really used to doing. So the experience for the consumer is similar to Tinder. So an influencer can go into the system, go find an opportunity. An opportunity will come up. It'll say, hey, do you want to post this about ASICs on July 30th? Yes or no? If you say yes, you just swipe on it like you do on Tinder. And then what happens is it'll sit in the automatic send. It'll send, when the date comes, it'll send out automatically. And then the payment is sent out to the wallet that's inside the app. So it's a real simple solution to help the influencer marketing industry, you know, be able to handle the scale and the amount of funds that are going to be moving into the market, and brands that are going to actually be able to spend their money on towards engagement and towards the marketing campaign, and not spend money on human resources and the floors of people that they have now for organizations to accomplish their campaigns. What I think is most important is it's supposed to be butterflies flying around, but it's really about, what I'm excited about with this is just how much, how this is going to let crypto move into more people's hands. And it's doing it in a real simple way. We've got all these people on Instagram, it's millions and millions of people, and what I'm trying to do and accomplish is spread crypto across a larger group of people. And when that occurs, it's just going to help the whole industry, because it's really about people understanding crypto, about utilizing crypto, and getting used to working with it in an easy way. Right now, what I find is that people have a difficult time. They have a difficult time with their wallets. They have a difficult time getting their money out of the exchanges once the exchange is there. So what we're able to do here is we can pay people in any type of crypto. We can also pay them in fiat, and we use USDT in the background. And then they can put it in their wallet. They can trade to the bank. We have a Butterfly card. It's just an easy way for people to get used to working with crypto, which will then have them dig a little bit deeper and then start investing and using that crypto as a way to hold assets. And that's about all I got today. Anybody have any questions?
All right, nice job. So questions, I got a microphone, yep. Just tell us company and your name.
My name's Justin Litchfield from ProChain Capital. When you mentioned doing the big Rihanna campaign, and now you've got all this cool data, one thing that kind of occurred to me was that looking at that data set, you might be able to find new influencers within like if Rihanna posted something and then somebody saw that and reposted it, you could start to find people that are like micro influencers with 100 friends that are hyper engaged, that you could start recruiting them to be new producers in your platform.
Yeah, and that's what we do. We actually call that the butterfly effect. So what we find is we'll look at your demographic and understand the brand relationships within that stack. So for example, we did this for a movie, and we found out that everybody that was the demographic for the movie had some commonalities. They all liked Stranger Things, Bathing Ape, Cardi B, Lil Zane. So then we'll find these tentpole influencers that have followers and followers that have the same brand affinities. So that we'll hire the tentpole influencers to send out the first post, and then we'll go under them and we'll hire influencers, let's say, in each tier. And if we're going to hire somebody that is a micro tier 1, we're only going to hire them if they have a follower stack with the same brand affinities, but they have over 20% engagement. So then now what we're doing is we're going to make sure that when the brand is spending the money, they're going to get the right engagement that's better for their spend.
Okay, yeah, another question over here.
Great presentation, thank you. I'm Jody Rich, the CEO of People Browser.
Thanks.
So I know there aren't as many people in the room as you thought, but I'd just like to know that I would like to be a customer of yours.
Yes, we would. I'm okay to talk after the presentation.
Excellent. But I have a question, which is, what is the greatest friction point in your system?
Right now?
Yeah.
I think the greatest friction point is going to be the exchange of what we're using, the medium of exchange, and how we're doing that. And what I mean by that is brands, or when they do a spend, if they put $100,000 into the system, they better come back tomorrow and it'd be $100,000. So they're not going to be okay with anything being variant. And so what we're doing is using USDT in the background. And that's our major friction, and it's really just figuring out the system of how we're going to do that in a real easy way. And it's not so much a friction, but it's how do we not get taxed for that and become a money exchange company.
Do you also find that influencers don't want to be associated with crypto?
Sometimes, but what we're doing is allowing them to just receive fiat.
Right.
And then that way, they're not getting into the complex world of crypto. They're just getting a small introduction. And the way that we're doing this is our token is a discount token. It's a discount model. So what's happening is if we know that you like Nike, then we're going to get you paid by Nike. And then we're going to actually, if you're holding our coins, you're going to get a discount on Nike. And so it's a way to close a loop.
Okay, great presentation. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi there, I'm Tara Nolan. I have a full-service blockchain consultancy. It's called Token Consult. I focus on marketing and PR for ICOs, so I'm wondering if you have had any case studies yet of a situation where you've leveraged influencers and your technology to promote an ICO.
We haven't yet, and it's not that we don't want to. It's just that what we're doing right now is going after these big beta clients. So we have Fox as a client, and WeWork, and Harry's, and we're still in beta. And so we need to stick that and get those right, because that's our true customer. But we also are going to be working with smaller customers with smaller budgets. It's a smaller audience, but we want to go for the big ones first. But then what's going to happen is it's just going to open up, and you can log in and create your own account, and then put whatever spend in that you need. We have two ways that you can use the system. One is just a freemium model. So if you already have influencers you work with, you can just use our Rails or our protocol to pay them, and we don't take any commission. And then we do a different model, which is a cost per engagement model, where if you actually want our system to tell you who you should be working with, and then reach out to them, we'll do that for you. And what we're doing with that is it's really great because you're going to spend less and get higher engagement because our systems are really smart.
Cool. We got time for another question. If anybody else has a final question, just raise your hand. Yep. Just say your company and where you're from. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Vladimir. I represent a company called Arloids Automation in the IoT space from Singapore. My main question is how you are planning to monetize your project? How are you going to generate revenue?
How do we generate revenue?
Yeah, for the project.
Yeah, are you talking about investor revenue, or are you talking about revenue from
your operations?
From the operations. So it's a cost per engagement model. So what we're doing, like I was explaining, so we have a way that's no fee. It's like a freemium model. If you have your own influencers, it's similar to you know the guys from Wax, so Malcolm. So he was like, hey, I've got a bunch of influencers. I want to pay them in Wax coins. Can I use your system? Sure. You can use our system, so that way you can pay them real easily. We're not going to take any commission there. But the way that we do earn revenue is a cost per engagement model. So if a brand comes in and they just say, hey, we've got $10,000 or let's say $1 million that we want to spend, we're going to show them how to spend less and get more engagement than they are right now. So for them, they believe that they're saving money, and then we just in the background take a piece of that.
All right, awesome. Well, let's give it up for Nathan. Great job, Nathan.
Thanks.
And Nathan, you're not going anywhere because you're on the next panel. So.
Yep.
Yep. All right.